Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to Book a Day. Today we get to share our first book together. Now, Book a Day is one of my favorite parts of fourth grade. I have a feeling you're really going to like it too. Every day we are going to share a story with you along with a really cool vocabulary word. This vocabulary word isn't something that's boring that you're never going to use. This vocabulary word is something that you're going to see in your reading and throughout your entire life for the rest of your life. So make sure you're paying really close attention. Let's see what our first book is today. First Day Jitters by Julie Dannenberg, illustrated by Judy Love. Sometimes when I see a picture book, one of the things I do before I even open the book is I look at the book. I look at the cover and I think, what might this book be about? Look at the cover. What do you see? Oh, man. Looks like someone might be nervous for the first day of school. Maybe some of you can relate to that for your first day of distance learning. Let's look at our vocabulary word today. Watch how I say this word. Apprehensive. Okay, now I want you to look at the word. I'm going to say it again, and I want your eyes to follow along as I read that word. Apprehensive. Do you see how I chunked that? How many syllables are in the word apprehensive? 4. Apprehensive. It's an adjective, a describing word. It means nervous or afraid, like when you feel worried about a big decision. Look at that illustration. I don't know what kind of animal that is, but he looks quite apprehensive about getting a shot from the doctor, nervous or afraid. I wonder how that word connects to our book a day today. Before we start, it might be good to know what the word jitters mean. Jitter is used when someone's extremely nervous. Sometimes when I feel nervous, my palms might start to sweat, or my voice might get really shaky. I have to be honest, I'm a little nervous to be recording my first book a day. Right now, on your Ed puzzle, I want you to write down, not 3, let's just do 1. What's one jitter you might have for starting school? Do you think distance learning jitters are different than going to the actual school jitters? Can't wait to talk about that at morning meeting. Let's begin. Sarah, dear, time to get out of bed, Mr. Hartwell said, poking his head through the bedroom doorway. You don't want to miss the first day at your new school, do you? I'm not going, said Sarah, and pulled the covers over her head. Of course you're going, honey, said Mr. Hartwell, as he walked over to the window and snapped up the shade. No, I'm not. I don't want to start over again. I hate my new school, Sarah said. She tunneled down to the end of her bed. How can you hate your new school, sweetheart? Mr. Hartwell chuckled. You've never been there before. Don't worry. You liked your other school and you'll like this one. Besides, just think of all the new friends you'll meet. That's just it. I don't know anybody and it'll be hard and I just hate it. That's all. Looks like there's a lot going on in that picture. What will everyone think if you aren't there? We told them you were coming. Look at that illustration. People are looking at the chair like, where is she? Do you see those little posters? What do those say? They will think that I am lucky and they will wish that they were at home in bed like me. Mr. Hartwell sighed. Fourth graders, give me your biggest sigh. Sarah Jane Hartwell, I'm not playing this silly game 1 second longer. I'll see you downstairs in 5 minutes. Sarah tumbled out of bed. She stumbled into the bathroom. She fumbled onto her clothes. Oh, wait a minute, that didn't sound right. Does that ever happen to you when you're reading, when you're like, wait, I just read that sentence, but it doesn't make sense? When that happens, what good readers do, even if they're 32 years old, is they go back and they just reread it. Let me try that again. Thanks for your patience, fourth grade. Sarah tumbled out of bed. She stumbled into the bathroom. She fumbled into her clothes. My head hurts, she moaned as she trudged into the kitchen. Mr. Hartwell handed Sarah a piece of toast and her lunchbox. They walked to the car. Sarah's hands were cold and clammy. Clammy is a describing word for like when your hands get like really sweaty when you're nervous. They drove down the street. She couldn't breathe. Has that ever happened to you when you've been so nervous that it's just hard to breathe? Me too. And then they were there. I feel sick, said Sarah weakly. Nonsense, said Mr. Hartwell. You'll love your new school once you get started. Oh, look, there's your principal, Mrs. Burton. Sarah slumped down into her seat. What does it look like if your body slumps? Oh, Sarah, Mrs. Burton gushed, peeking into the car. There you are. Come on, I'll show you where to go. She led Sarah into the building and walked quickly through the crowded hallways. Don't worry, everyone is nervous the first day, she said over her shoulder as Sarah rushed to keep up. When they got to the classroom, most of the children were already in their seats. The class looked up as Mrs. Burton cleared her throat. Class, attention please, said Mrs. Burton. When the class was quiet, she led Sarah to the front of the room and said, Class, I would like you to meet your new teacher, Mrs. Sarah Jane Hartwell. What? How many of you were surprised? I love how sometimes the author and the illustrators work together to tell a story. The words might tell one story, and the illustrations tell a completely different story. Let's look. Does it ever show us in the story that Sarah Jane Hartwell was a teacher? I thought she was a student this entire time. It's a good reminder that sometimes teachers get nervous too. Let's go back to our vocabulary word, apprehensive. Adjective, describing word, means nervous or afraid, like when you feel worried about a big decision. Thinking about our story today, I want you to use the word apprehensive to describe something that happened in first day jitters. Maybe you'll explain how Mrs. Hartwell is feeling. Do that now. If I had to use the word apprehensive, I might say Mrs. Hartwell was feeling apprehensive about her first day at her new school. I wonder what happens next. Fourth graders, thanks for joining me for Book a Day. Can't wait to see you soon.